Hi everyone, Indez here. If you're watching this video, most likely about to install Diablo Immortal, or you just installed it and you're just about to begin your journey and you're still confused about what class should you pick. This is a question that I see constantly on the official Discord of Diablo Immortal, not only for beginners but also for people that are already playing the game. So in this video, I'm gonna break down all the classes that exist right now in Diablo Immortal from a free-to-play perspective, because when you're starting the game, I will suggest you first have a taste, and then if you really enjoy the game and if you want to support the game and invest, go for it. So far, I have played all the classes on the game, and with this in mind, recently we made one of the first podcasts about Diablo Immortal, where we did a tear down of the whole classes, me, Oroth, and Abonis, two of the best Diablo Immortal creators. And also, we're gonna use the gameplay of the actual game as it is today, from creators like Rager's Gaming, Great Plains, Apollyon, Keys, and Zone Shini. So, as a disclaimer, this discussion and tier list will be based not only on the present moment of the game, but also what has been happening in the past months. So any changes in the future that the class might have, it might change its placement when it comes to tier lists, because they always do. However, you're gonna still be able to have an overall view of the playstyle that you're gonna have in PvE and in PvP. So let's start. Maybe one of my favorites too when it comes to the fantasy, it is the Necromancer. The Necromancer is you manipulate life and death, you raise your minions, you have like this giant golem. It is just an awesome class to play. When it came to play style, I felt I could do anything. I was safe all the time because of the minions. But if you played any Diablo game, all Necromancers are always good, no matter what the game it is. And Diablo Immortal is no exception. When it comes to solo content, I will say that it is a bit slow. But when you pair it in party, for example with a Crusader, it can excel so much the DPS thanks to his minions. Which this puts this class in a solo as an A tier and as a group in the S tier. So now on the PvP side, there are multiple versions like I mentioned before, like using Corpse Lance to make everyone around you with dots, damage over time, and overall you're just super obnoxious. You do a lot of damage and you'll be able to carry many games if you're a whale, but if you're not, you're probably gonna have to have a more defensive style and using skills, for example like fear, to make your enemies start running away like crazy, or just dispel their buffs, like for example a bubble of Crusader or the undying rage of a Barbarian. So this puts Necromancer in a very good spot at the current stage. So if this is the game style that you're looking for, I give a huge thumbs up to Necromancer, because you're gonna have so much fun, and this applies the same to every class. I will say after playing all the classes, they are all extremely fun, especially in PvE. They all do extremely well. When it comes to PvP, there are phases that one is better than the other, but keep in mind that you can always change class. So now we bring again a classic fantasy class, Wizard, the Sorcerer of Fire, Cold and Lightning Damage. This class, I will say that personally, whenever I played, I think it was extremely fun. Definitely lackluster in a few things when it came to PvE. I wish in dungeons and raids it could have had a bit more impact and a playstyle that I liked more. But when it came to farming, this class, it is insane. As you guys are seeing here on the screen, we see Oroth just going with a Lightning Nova, just killing everything, and you just need to pretty much walk and everything dies with you. So very good class when it comes to farming. Still does pretty well in the other areas of PvE, but I will have to put it in a B tier, this one. And when it comes to PvP, we have an example of here, Apollyon, playing a build where there is like this ice shard that will become invulnerable and you can do a lot of damage to the enemies around you. Also, there's like these lightning novas that you can put on the floor. There's this giant tornado that will make you so disruptive in the battleground that sometimes you can win game. However, it is an extremely high skill cap class that it is very hard to play. So most of the players, they do pretty average in it, especially if you don't have PvP experience, because you have a lot of CC, crowd control, and you also have damage. But above all, it takes a more supportive role when it comes to your team. As a free-to-play player, it is actually a really good choice, because the impact that you can have, it can be like very high, but you have to be good. If you're not good, you're probably just gonna feed and your team is gonna start raging, and that's not gonna be a good thing. So as currently stands, Mage in PvP will be ranked as an average player around the B tier, but as always, if you're a god tier wizard, you can be playing these at the high level and be a S tier class. But since we're not focusing on the exceptions, B tier it is. And now let's talk about Tempest, the newest class in the game the class that for like 1 month everyone was playing, and it is an extremely good class. It is fun, it has a lot of damage, a lot of dashes, a lot of shields, and it's a lot of fun. So it is the perfect formula to actually cater to a brand new player, because not only you can carry in PvP like super hard, but you can also carry in PvE, which makes Tempest one of the most complete classes in the current time on the game. I'll say that Tempest is pretty much like the perfect design of a class that, yeah, it is strong, but also requires skill for you to be good at. So if you want to be really good at it, prepare it to be a bit sweaty when it comes to PvE or PvP, but nevertheless, you're gonna have a good time. So for PvE, since Tempest is not the highest DPS, but it is one of the best DPS, we're gonna put him in A tier. And when it comes to PvP, oh boy, a lot of dashes, a lot of shields again. And man, if you know when you master this class, I'll promise you, you're gonna have so many MVP titles on the game that you're probably gonna get tired of seeing that. In this video here, we can see Abu going with a new answers for the rolling strikes. It is a very powerful answers that turns Tempest, that it is a melee class, into this like mid-range class. So when it comes to PvP, it's probably where you find the most diversity in terms of specs, because I will say that Tempest has probably 3 or 4 very viable specs, and that just makes it the class so exciting. So I have to rate S tier when it comes to PvP for Tempest, because it is just that good. And now let's talk about the class that made me start playing this game. I play all the Diablo games before, and one of the classes that didn't exist in any of them was Blood Knight. So whenever I saw this game and I was waiting for the Diablo 4 season to come up, I decided to give it a shot, and I instantly fell in love with this class. It is super fun. The design, it is incredible. The blood skills, everything, man, genius. I love this class, and I wish it was a much better class as it is right now. I will say that right now Blood Knight is like, it is the jack of all trades but the master of none. You will do everything like extremely well, but it doesn't do anything exceptionally well. However, if you like vampires and you like the whole fantasy when it comes to the Blood Knight, you're gonna have a blast, not only here in PvE, but also in PvP, because recently we got like this weird new spec that you can summon some copies of you, and you just go, you drop your summons, and then you just leave. You're probably gonna see now, you see, it's gonna put his summons, it's gonna leave, and the summons will start doing a lot of damage to the people that are around. Also, you have like the blood surf, I don't know if that's how you call the skill, but it makes you immune and again a lot of speed, which makes you very versatile and tanky when it comes to the PvP. And again, the same as Tempest and any other class with dashes, it is pretty annoying to sometimes play against Blood Knight, especially if they are really good. So this is for me one of the best class to start the game, and I will highly recommend to take it, because you're gonna cruise through the end game so quickly, because you have damage, you have self-healing, you have shields, you have immunity. It is overall, like I said, a pretty good all-around class that I had a lot of fun. This was my first class, and I'm sure you're gonna have too. So when it comes to the tiers, as a PvE, I have to put it right now as a A tier, and as a PvP, I'll have to put it as a B tier. So now moving on to the best class that I think that is on the game right now, it is Barbarian. This is my Barbarian, this is my current main, and it didn't start that way. However, this class does tremendous damage, crits of millions and millions, as you guys can see, which makes it super excited to play. Not only that, you have different playstyles. For example, Lifebreaker, it is a new spec that just came out with the new answers. And after I played all the classes in the game to the maximum mastery level, the one I picked as my main was Barbarian. This was even before the phase of like being extremely overpowered as it is right now. It was just a coincidence. However, it was a good coincidence, because man, the things I'm able to do with my free-to-play player Barbarian, they are crazy. Barbarian, it is super fast at farming. does millions of damage. Not only that, it boosts your teammates with a 30% damage increase, plus it can also add up armor penetration, which gives like a 64% total of increased damage to your party. And for me, this makes Barbarian one of the best classes to have on your party, because not only you give damage, you also do a lot of damage, and who doesn't want to do both, right? PvE aside, we also have PvP. Here with Crane plays with a new Ota build, which is like just smashing the battlegrounds. As you're gonna see here, he's gonna go to the idol and he's just gonna destroy everything. It is such a crazy build that you can go and play and destroy everything. And this build and other ones makes pretty much Barbarian the king of PvP. It is just nuts. So if I had to put in tier list, I would put S tier in both. I know that I'm completely biased, but it is the truth. Barbarian right now, it is not only S tier in PvE, but it's also in PvP. And if you play it, you're gonna have a lot of fun because it is that strong. Now we have here Crusader, the horsey man. Jesus, this class, it is so strong in PvE. When it comes to PvE, it's like the best friend that you never had, that you always wanted to have. It makes you do a lot of damage, and it is a supporter, it is a damage dealer, it is a damage booster. It is insane. It is most likely the best class when it comes to PvE in the whole game, and I don't think anyone can argue from that. Even though I'm a Barbarian, I'm super excited for Barbarian. It is super good. It just cannot compete when it comes to Crusader. I think Crusader, it is even a tier above every class. So I'll definitely put it Crusader when it comes to PvE as a C++ if that is existed, because it is that strong. And if you want to level up, I will say that in the beginning it feels like very slow. Even though you have the horse and all these things, it is just not like the most fun class to play with when it comes to the leveling. So I would most likely recommend to start with other class and later on in the game switch to Crusader if you really like this tanky / damage class, because it will just crush the game. And when it comes to PvP, oh boy, I will say that, well, Crusader used to be the king of PvP. Right now is Barbarian. Since we had a few changes recently on the game, it made Crusader go from like a S tier class to probably like a B tier with very less impact. However, Rigers, it is one of those players that can make any class look like a S tier, especially with this practice and experience with the Crusader from all these games. But if you're just starting out the game, I will not take Rigers as the norm of what it is like to be a Crusader in PvP, because even though it does very well, most Crusaders that I find in BGs, they don't do that well, okay? Let's say that way. So I hope that in the future, Crusader gets the buff that it deserves. They deserve definitely to share the spot at the top tier together with Barbarian. But however, to compensate, they do still very well in PvE. And depending on what you're looking for, you can make the right call for yourself. Regardless of what you pick, this game is gonna be fun for you. And that's what's the most important thing above all. So now let's talk about one of the most popular classes in the game. Demon Hunter was already really popular, Demon Hunter in Diablo 3, and is also very popular here in the Diablo Immortal. It does insane amounts of damage when it comes to PvE or PvP. It is a bit squishy, but it is extremely fun to pump all this damage. Not only that, we have like Strife, which is this rotating build that you just like start shooting everything around you right now, and you do insane damage. I played it myself. I had a lot of fun. It was one of the classes that I played for the longest time, and it's because it's just that fun, man. I don't know the experience as a leveling a Demon Hunter. Maybe it feels like it's gonna be very squishy and gear dependent, because that's usually what happens to these classes. For example, like Barbarian or Demon Hunter, that they need certain stats and certain gear and certain crit chance to also do a crazy amount of damage in PvE. So if you like the range style of playing the game, maybe you like to play Hunter in World of Warcraft, I am certain that this class, well, is gonna surprise you. And if you think that it does well in PvE, well, let me show you also keys here. He's a high reso player playing Demon Hunter, and is just absolutely destroy. I'll probably not recommend to a lot of low reso players to play this kind of build or Demon Hunter in PvE, because again, you need to have the stats and the proper power to actually make an impact when it comes to PvE. So Demon Hunter is very stat hungry. And for that, you see, to crush the games like this, look at this 12 killing streak. It is insane. Like the playstyle that you can have with this. And if you are able to invest in the game or to play it for a very long time and become really good at it, you will just dominate every single game that you go on. Of course, now you also have Tempest, which it makes like if you find a Tempest on the other side, you gotta be careful. But nonetheless, as you see here, this is a very tanky build. I think he went to what? 21 kill streaks. This is crazy, man. Also, I'm gonna show here another build from Oroth that it is the Summoner's build. This is the build that most low reso players they play. It is very annoying to play with because you just go, you place these sentries and your summons, and then you just back off. You just go to your base and they will stay there and doing a lot of damage. Not only that, you can put some traps, which makes you become super impactful even at the lower reso. So Demon Hunter for me right now, when it comes to PvE or PvP, it is at the A tier. It is overall a great class. And last but not the least, we have here Monk, that recently it got a bit of a buff. It is still in a rough spot when it comes as a class. It definitely did some help. And it comes to PvE, I mean, like it does extremely well. As you guys can see here, it's gonna farm super fast with this new build, is spinning mode. And in general, that's what you're looking for, is a fast farmer, a fast DPS, and that's gonna buff your party. However, the problem with Monk is not that he does these things, is that there are other classes that do the same things that he does, but they do it better. So hopefully in the future we're gonna have Monk in a better spot. Right now, I can't really recommend this, even though Zonshini does a great job at playing with Monk. And I mean, I gotta put my hats off because, like, as you can see, he's playing so good with it. But again, it is the same problem with Wizard. It's not for everyone. And the average Monk, if you go, you just started the game, and if you're deciding for your class, I will advise you to not take Monk. So I'll have to put Monk, well, in the PvE as a B tier and as a PvP at C tier. And so if you're looking for the final tier list, how is it look like? On the left, we have the PvE tier list, and on the right, we have the PvP tier list at the current stage of the game. Diablo Immortal, it is a fun game. Again, you don't need to spend any money if you don't want to have fun in this game. You're gonna hear a lot of people saying that it is a pay-to-win trash game. It is pay-to-win, but I would not say that it is a trash game. I played many games in the past. I am a gamer. I played Diablo 3, I played Diablo 4, and I played Diablo Immortal. And I have to say that depending on your ambitions on the game, your expectation that needs to be aligned. Because in this game, you can have fun as a free-to-play player, or you can also have a lot of fun as a pay-to-win player. At the end of the day, it's gonna need to be your decision, and according to it, you have to be okay. If you're a free-to-play player, that's gonna be some opponents in the BGs that you're never gonna be able to beat. It doesn't mean that you cannot have a huge impact on the game and still be able to achieve rank 1 like I am. And this is not a flex. This is literally for the beginner to understand that even in PvP, if you want to be good at the game, you can still be good at the game. So please take my word for it and try it for yourself. There's nothing like your personal experience, and there's so many things that you guys can do. And I'll highly advise you to go check all my other guides. I have very in-depth guides, 0 to hero. In one video, I'll tell you everything you need to know about that topic. And so if you're still here, this is the last call. Please put the timestamp in the comments below so I know you are fully dedicated to take your Diablo Immortal gameplay to the next level, and hopefully you're gonna pick the right class for you. Tier lists, they come and go, so make the judgment for yourself. Play whatever is fun for you, because that's exactly what I do. And if this video brought you any value, please consider subscribing. It helps me a lot. We are on a mission to overcome the Diablo Immortal official YouTube channel. We are still far away, but hey, with your sub, maybe we can get it closer. So with this, thank you for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.